Rafael Arytyunyan recommended Nathan to end his career after Beijing. But the skater will not be equal in the next Olympic cycle. Nathan Chen achieved everything he dreamed of. A triumphant victory at the Beijing Olympics was an excellent compensation for the failure in Pyeongchang. It seemed that only the fourth gold medal from the World Championships would bring more joy. But the skater would not go there because of an injury. Officially. But there is a possibility that skipping the tournament was planned and caused by no means health problems. Perhaps the problem is a lack of motivation. Only not with the athlete, but with his coach. Rafael Arytyunyan openly admitted that he did not plan to work closely with Chen in the future. And also advised the student to end his career after the Games. Sad. Given the fact that Nathan is at least capable of winning a second Olympic gold. Will his eternal dispute with Hanyu never be resolved? Severe injury or lack of motivation? The great and terrible, Nathan Chen dominated the men's competition this Olympic cycle. For 3 years, no one could defeat the Space American at the World Championships, including his main opponent Yuzuru Hanyu. With each new start, the pupil of Rafael Arytyunyan convinced the public that it was he who would win the gold of the Olympics, having paid for the failure in Pyeongchang 4 years ago. And, indeed, in Beijing. The skater was not afraid to take risks, going for crazy content from a quadruple lutz and a flip in the short program for one simple reason: for him it was no longer a dangerous zone. Technically. Nathan flew so far that 2 of the most difficult jumps did not cause him some difficulties. He trained this content, flatly refused to accept any of my arguments, and as a result, he fell from the first jump. He began to convulsively rebuild the program, replacing the lutz with a sheepskin coat, but fell off him too. And then he tore off the axle. In Beijing, we were ready to carry out the most difficult option. That is, the situation has changed. His coach explained the metamorphoses that occurred with Chen. The athlete has become stronger. Past experience helped him gather himself before the free program, where he performed not 6, but 5 quads, but how? The triumphant performance to the incendiary composition of Elton John, Rocket Man, brought the coveted award to the American. It seemed that the skater was full of energy and would delight us with clean skates at the next World Championship. But he will not fly to France due to an injury. In any case, this was announced by official sources, in which it was said about the removal of Chen from the tournament. There is another version. Due to lack of motivation, the Olympic champion may end his career altogether. True. It must be clarified that the desire to work further is absent, rather, from the mentor than from the athlete himself. I'm afraid I'll overstrain and die on the way. To be honest, I would recommend that Nathan end his career altogether and resume his studies at the university. Why keep riding? To win another medal? Another world title? This is not serious. Rafael Arytyunyan's honest confession amazed the whole world. Of course, it's easy to keep score when not the first, but the 4th medal is at stake. But we are still talking about one of the most prestigious awards in figure skating. And it's hard to imagine that Nathan would not be happy with her. However, this is not even a case in point. In the end, by tradition, many top athletes miss the post-Olympic World Championships, citing injuries that were not paid attention to before, or general fatigue. The fans of the American are worried about the sharp statement of the skater's mentor, in which he made it clear that subsequent cooperation with Chen is unlikely. Most likely, the work that was with Chen will no longer be. I am afraid once again to shoulder such a burden and such responsibility for 4 years. I don't even envy those who will undertake to prepare the Olympic champions of Milan. I will probably consult, even with the guys I am leading now. In the near future I will seriously talk about full-fledged cooperation, RIA Novosti quotes Arytyunyan. Of course, I will consult, but full-fledged coaching work. I don't want to. I'm not ready to continue to drag this car on myself. I'm afraid that I'll overstrain myself and die along the way. I don't know how to work badly. But I know perfectly well what it costs to work well. I just don't have enough strength, he added in another interview for RT. You can understand the coach's need for rest. But the fact that he is ready to work with Peter Gumenik, Ilya Malinin is worrying, while he does not rely on Nathan. But this is fundamentally wrong. Chen has yet to win the main dispute with Hanyu. The only explanation for this behavior of a specialist is that targeted counseling for an athlete of Chen's level is definitely not suitable. Nathan needs a mentor he trusts who will come up with a comprehensive plan for all 4 years, because in the end the goal will be a second Olympic gold. The sudden departure of an American from the sport will be a real tragedy for the entire world community. Obviously, Arytyunyan's student has not yet said his last word and won the argument with Hanyu for the title of the best figure skater in history. And the most ironic thing is that, despite Coach Chen's fears, he is able to win in the next Olympic cycle. Nathan's opponents are incredibly powerful, no doubt, but Yuma Kageyama, with all due respect to him, has not yet come close to achieving the American genius. Chen had to roll content from 5 to 6 quadruples in a free program for more than 8 years. And the Japanese have only 4 years to do this. He will have to start with 3 not always stable quads and gradually build up strength. The problem is that physically it will be very difficult for him to do it. Suffering failures in the elements, and Vincent Zhou, who was unable to demonstrate his preparation at the Olympics due to a positive COVID test. There is another skater in the US who is capable of attacking Chen's positions. Young Ilya Malinin learns the most difficult elements that no one in the world performs, but this will not be enough to win. As for Nathan himself, only time can play against him. True, Yuzuru Hanyu, at 27, did not lose his quads, which he learned while still very young, and in fact, in physics, an American is much superior to a Japanese. It's enough for Chen to keep fit and not chase new jumps, although he has an excellent quad loop and quad axel attempts in reserve. This is not an easy process. And the skater will need the knowledge of an experienced mentor to help him cope with this task. I really hope that Rafael Arytyunyan will change his mind and we will see the results of the work of this wonderful tandem of coach and student. That's all for today. If the information was interesting to you, put likes, subscribe to the channel, and see you soon.